All right, welcome to the Philly Fox and Danny D Eagles podcast, Phillies edition. All right, and we're coming to you from our Eagles perch in the Ed Bobco Memorial Studios in beautiful Morristown, PA. And we're going to recap week one of the Phillies. All right, and we're going to start with
The Nationals in Washington D.C.
Nationals in Washington, D.C. Okay, so we got 3 games down there. All right, so game one, who do we got there? What do we got?
Phillies won 7-3 in 10 innings.
Okay, 7-3 in 10 innings, and who pitched that one?
Well, Wheeler, he got a no decision, unfortunately, but it doesn't
Okay.
tell the story of how great he was.
Yeah, right. He was lights out. Picked right up where he left off last year. Looked really good. So what do you got as far as highlights from that?
I'm saying Wheeler, he only gave up the one home run, and then after that, Harper hit one, and then Schwarber hit one.
Okay, all right.
They were back to back, I remember,
Okay,
because Rob changed the lineup. Schwarber wasn't batting leadoff.
okay, all right. And so we had a couple of home runs. All right.
And then, Romano, unfortunately, gave up 2 runs, which sent it to extras.
Okay.
But however, Boehm picked us up in the extras. So
Right. Okay, Bohm.
yeah, Boehm picked us up. He scored the 4 runs.
Okay.
He just hit him in, but still,
Cool.
he drove him in.
All right. And good job by Bohm. All right.
Yes.
Glad we kept him. Glad we kept him. He's paying dividends already. All right. What do you got next?
Well, game 2 was 11-6 win. Lazardo,
Okay. Oh, lights out Luzardo. That's for
Yes.
sure. Yeah, the guy's a beast. The guy's a real beast.
because it was Dave Dombrowski's prized offseason acquisitions.
Right. Everybody criticizes him.
Well, Dombrowski didn't do enough and stuff,
Right. But he did. He did quality stuff. We had a good team. We only needed certain things, and he definitely gave us a lot of depth in our pitching staff. Right.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we'll get game 3, unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
Nola got no run stuff. It's a theme we're gonna say too often on this show.
Yeah. And we've said, and we've unfortunately seen it too much in the past. Yeah, he didn't get any run support. I mean, 3 runs, we ought to be able to score 4, 5, or 6, right? I mean,
Yes.
with this offense, with what they can do,
Yes.
I feel bad for him. Everybody's gonna always look to whatever home run he gives up. But you can give up home runs and still win games. So,
Yes.
but anyway, we come out of there.
We win the series 2-3.
Yeah, we won 2 out of 3, so we win the series, totally positive. And then we do what? We come
Home to play the Rockies.
right. So we're back at CMB, right? CMP, Citizens Bank Park, right?
CBP.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know me, man. I get things mixed up. Citizens Bank Park. How's
Yes,
that?
there we
All
go.
right.
Because the first game was a 6-1 win. Yes, 6-1 with
Okay.
Castellano, Schwarber, and Max Kepler all hitting home runs in that game.
All right.
Well, Christopher Sanchez got no decision, but once again, it doesn't tell the story of how dominant he was.
Yeah.
He only gave up the 1 earned run.
Yeah. Sanchez. Yeah, he's definitely a beast. He's doing really, really well. All right. What do you got now?
In game 2,
Game
it was a
2.
5-1 win.
5-1 victory.
Well,
Okay.
Wheeler got the win, and then Turner got 3 hits. That was the highlight of the game.
Okay. So now Wheeler gets the
Win.
Yeah, he got a decision out of this, right? He had 2 great games, but he just only has the 1 win. All right.
And then game 3 was 3-1 win with a Schwarber and a Harper RBI double.
Okay.
And then Taiwan Walker was really the story of the game because
Yeah.
he pitched 6 shutout innings.
Wow. Yeah. Good for him. Good for him. And he got a standing ovation.
Yes.
His mom was in the stands. They interviewed her afterwards. She was crying the whole time. She was so proud of him. And I just want to give a shout out to the Philly fans for giving him a standing ovation. I mean, almost everybody wanted this guy gone. And shout out to him for being able to stick with it, ignoring all the negativity that he was getting, and really, really good performance. And yeah.
Yes, and then the Dodgers are up next. We stay home, and the undefeated Dodgers and the world champions at that.
Yeah.
Not just undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, they're coming in here as the defending world champions. And of course, this is going to be a big test. I mean, irregardless of whether it's significant or not, down the road, record-wise, people are going to put a lot into this, right?
Because the World Series aren't won in April, as they always say.
Yeah, absolutely. But the atmosphere down at the park
felt like a playoff game.
Felt like a playoff game for sure. Yes. So, all right. So what do we got? First game.
Well, yes, Luzardo again lights out. He didn't give up a single run to a loaded Dodgers lineup, which
right.
Because this ain't like the Rockies or the Nat. People can't crap on them. Just put it that way. They can't say it's the Rockies, it's the Nationals, it's the
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. Yep, we're playing a really good team.
Yes.
Okay.
Was it the Trey started to scoring on a throwing error? He stole third base and the pitcher panicked, overthrew the third baseman, and Trey scored.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I love this guy. I mean, he's got a lot of speed on the bases, and then it was a heads-up play. He saw that the ball was overthrown. Boom, he crosses the plate. He scores.
Oh, yes, and then the next one, Stott singled home Kepler, because we're saying Stott again because he had a home run in the National Series.
Yeah.
He's got a single here, so he's having a solid start as well.
Absolutely, yeah. This guy's picking up. He had little nagging injury last year that threw off his swing. He overcompensated for it. He's worked on that, and he seems like he's done a real good job with it. And he's producing and having quality at bats.
And then the next one is the one that. Let me see. Sorry.
Oh, my writing again. Don't blame him.
Oh yeah, Nick scores on Marsh, RBI ground out. Because I said Stott was stealing. That's why. If he wouldn't have been stealing, it would have been an inning double play.
Okay, right. Yeah, heads up play by Stott.
Well, yes, because that one run will make the difference, as we'll find out later.
Right. Yeah, every run counts. Small ball.
And then the next inning, although there was no scoring, JT threw out Ohtani going to second, trying to steal,
Right, yeah, what an arm.
And then the next inning, Romano, he gave us a little anxiety attack because he gave a 2-run home run, And,
a little agita, right, yeah.
But, however, JT backed us up, because Taylor, he was caught stealing. Originally, they ruled him safe at second, but upon video replay, he was out, and that was the game.
What a gun. I say sign this guy up, give him an extension. Yeah, it's got to be, the numbers have to be right, but if we can limit the amount of games he plays and get Marchand in there and to relieve him and stuff, I mean, look at what he can do. I mean,
because not many people throw out Ohtani. That's one of the hardest guys in the world to throw out.
Absolutely. The guy flies. Yeah. So good job, JT.
Well, then game 2, like I said, we'll go back to our theme that Nola didn't get run support, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because 3-1, that shouldn't bury it,
Yeah, and wasn't that the same score?
Well, the first one was 5-1,
it was 5-1.
But regardless, Nola wasn't getting run support,
Yeah. So yeah, it's a shame.
Because Bohm grounded out, which brought home Schwarber. That was it, and then
that was all the offense.
Kike Hernandez hit a home run for the Dodgers, but
yeah,
the funny story about Kike, I'll just bring up, he was pitching last year because the Phillies blew him out in Citizens Bank Park, and so they had to bring him in to pitch and stuff. That's what he's most remembered for.
Yeah.
They did. And then, game 3.
Okay.
Oh, this game was a wild one.
That was today's game. The
starting
Absolutely.
pitchers were Christopher Sanchez with a 1.69 ERA.
Right.
Tyler Glasnow with a 0 ERA and a 1-0 record.
Okay.
Because Sanchez was 0-0 because he had no decision the last time.
Yeah.
So. But in the first inning, Teoscar Hernandez, we're going to say this guy's name a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He had a 2-run home run.
Yeah, he was a thorn in his side all day. But the only thorn in his side, really.
None of the other Dodgers really made much of an impact. So.
No, and in fact, he got Ohtani
3 times, in
3 times.
Strikeouts.
Yeah, 3 times he struck him out. That is so cool.
Oh yes.
All right.
Well, LA went up 2-0 early.
Okay.
Second inning, no score. But
right.
In the third inning, the Phillies strike back.
Okay.
Harper singled home Marchand. And then
all right.
That's 2-1.
Okay.
And then a wild pitch. Schwarber scores. That's 2-2, right?
Right.
And then a walk, to Kepler. Then, the new pitcher came in. They pulled Glasnow because he was low in the bases.
Okay.
And then Castellanos hit the grand slam off the new guy,
Yeah.
But those were Glasnow's runs because, he set all those guys on base,
Right, right. So yeah, there goes his ERA,
yes.
right? but what a shot by Nick, though.
Yes.
Another guy, so happy for that we kept. I don't know that he was really on the trade block, but I mean, he's definitely somebody that people like to pick on. There was a lot of negativity about him in the press, about his chasing and this and that. When actually, down the stretch last year, he was actually one of the more consistent hitters. Down the stretch for the Phillies. It was a lot of the other guys that were
chasing a lot.
That were actually chasing more. He chases, but he was connecting more. So
because it was 6-2 after this shot, like the grand slam.
Yeah. So we're feeling good.
But you gotta remember it's the Dodgers, and they're never out of it.
They're never out of it. Same way we're never out of it. Neither are the Dodgers.
Okay. Yeah, in the fourth inning, Teoscar Hernandez solo shot,
that guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a thorn in the side again.
Well, then in the fifth inning, because there was no more scoring that inning,
okay,
he doubles home a run. So literally, all 4 runs were a product of him.
Wow.
And then the sixth inning, no scoring. But then Rob makes a controversial decision in the seventh inning.
Okay.
He went to Romano over Kerkering, which I was calling for Kerkering. A lot of people were, but
and majority of the people were. After the game, Rob explained it, said that he was keeping Kerkering for later because he wasn't sure if he was going to bring Kerkering or Alvarado in at the end, and
but it ended up working out. But
yeah.
Even if it backfired at the moment, the overall.
Right. I mean, be honest with you, there's no guarantee that we bring Kerkering in, and
because Kerkering still would have had to face Shohei, Mookie. You don't know how he would have done against them.
Right. And that was something else that Rob mentioned too.
Like how would Kerkering do against those guys in particular?
Right, because everybody focused on the matchup against Ohtani, but. Like Rob said, you can't just focus on Ohtani. You have to look at the rest of the lineup too. And so he, that's the way he looked at it, and that's the way he went. Whether you agree with it or not, that's the way he went. And that was his thought process.
Well, because Mookie double home run? Well, Romano got pulled then.
Yeah,
it was 6-5, but
right.
All these runs coming home were his runs, though.
But here's another thing, and I just want to say this real quick. In the past, Rob might have left him in and might have let him try to work out of it or whatever.
And there might have been more runs from the dot, and that might have lost the game.
Yeah, so you got to give Rob credit for
he knew to pull a trigger.
He knew to take him out. He knew to pull him out. So give him credit for that.
But however, Teoscar Hernandez sack fly, him again.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
6-6. But...
Right, he's been a hard out all day.
And then, he got out, but Ohtani scored. It brought home Ohtani.
Yeah.
And then, Will Smith doubled. It's funny to say Will Smith.
Yeah, every time you say Will Smith, you think of the actor. I think of the actor.
Yes.
And especially now we're talking about in Philadelphia, right?
Yes, yeah. He doubled and Mookie scores, so 7-6. But
okay.
So we don't feel as comfortable, but we know we're not out of it,
Yeah, absolutely. And at the time, I'll be honest with you, I'm not feeling like we're out of it. I'm not feeling like we're out of it at all.
Well, then what's the next inning? The Phillies respond Bryson singled home Harper.
Okay.
Which made 7-7, and
yep, Stott coming through again.
And this is the play of the game, possibly. Sosa beating out a double play ground ball,
Yeah, legging it out, a hustle, and that should have been a routine play. There's no way that should have even been close. Again, I don't watch it. I listen to it on the radio, but I take Fransky's and word for it, and he said it should have been. There was no way that he should have been able to beat that, and he did.
And and it brought home Kepler because that was the winning run.
Right.
There's no more scoring after it.
Okay.
But I will give a shout out to Alvarado in the ninth because he shut down the heart of the Dodgers order. Ohtani, Betts, they all just got at
Right.
They didn't reach base or anything.
Okay. Yeah, Alvarado's been a beast. He has really, really, really been a beast. And and I'm going to shout out to Rob. I mean, question his decisions, but it works out in the end.
Well, because like I said, the Braves found out the hard way. If Ohtani's up with a chance to tie the game, he could really crucial. The Braves found out, he walked off the Braves this week,
Absolutely. Yeah. So okay. So now we got. So now we ended up now. So that was we won that series. We got 2 out of 3 games.
Well, yes, we've won every series so far for the first time in a while, like you said. So.
Yeah, I forget how long it's been, but it has been a really long time.
The Phillies have started out slow, and they pick it up eventually, but they've been known for starting slow.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're kind of starting out a lot like last year, but I think this team is just built so much better.
Like they're not chasing like they were like last year. They were chasing, and
yeah.
Because like you said, even Castellanos, like the one pitch he did chase, like it really ate him a lot,
Yeah, right. And you can see where it bothers him, where these guys are really trying, and I think a move that might have went under the radar or whatever, and we didn't mention it, is that Stubbs.
Option to AAA.
Yeah, got option to AAA.
Because Marchand's a way better offensive catch, in my opinion, like hitting and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and it's probably a good move, for a younger catcher, to get the experience and
because
whatever.
Whenever Marchand was up, like I always thought he was good. Like he hit a couple homers, even
yeah.
For a backup catcher at homers, it's a good sign, But
I mean, and to be honest, I had no problems with Stubby as far as his catching abilities and even his offense. I mean, he wasn't a huge offensive threat, but he came through a lot of times and got some key hits and stuff. But I think another reason why he's gone is because of the mentality of the team. These guys they're not quite as laid back as they were. They're a lot more professional this year. They're focused. These guys are
really won it. They won the championship.
Absolutely.
Like seeing the Eagles win, it only provides more fuel for the fire, as they say.
Yeah, and again, don't quote me on these numbers, but I'm pretty sure they're leading the league in walks.
Well, because last year they would have just chased everything, and
Yeah, I mean they had a ton of them today. Now the pitching wasn't the best.
But I'm saying, really, like I said, Sanchez wasn't as bad as the. It was really just one guy doing all the the rest of the lineup wasn't doing anything.
No, when I say the pitching, I meant
the bullpen.
No, I meant the Dodgers pitching.
Oh, the Dodgers pitching.
That's why we got so many walks.
Oh, yes.
Was because some of it is the pitching, but some of it is the players too.
Glass now wasn't as good as he was in his first start. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's just such an improvement over last year, and hopefully it'll turn into wins and consistent wins, and we won't have that huge drop off.
And then that slump last year is what killed them, in my opinion.
Well, it killed them, and because they just never really got out of it. They just kept hoping and hoping and.
I mean, they would go on like a little win streak here, but nothing like they start the season historically great, then.
Right.
Put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, they still they won the division.
I mean, that's no easy task.
That's
with
no
the Braves.
easy task, right? Absolutely.
And the Mets are hot and cold. But
yeah.
that way they're hot.
And just real quick before we end this, just in case somebody right away starts saying, well, you always have those smart Alex out there. Well, they're better off just being a wild card team because look, they went further when they did that. Hey, when you're hot or you're not hot, it doesn't matter whether you win or not. But you always go for the division. You always go for that first. If you don't get it, you don't get it.
Because then you have to steal a game down in in New York or in Atlanta, Atlanta, assuming they get together.
Right. Point. And you get in a wild card. Isn't that first series a 3-game series?
Exactly. And you never know. You could come up against a team like the Padres because, unfortunately for the Padres, one of those teams is going to win, and the other team's going to have to be a wild card. Padres or Dodgers.
Yeah, or you can come up against a team like the Phillies when we went to the World Series, right? You come up against somebody like that, so you never know. So you always go to you try to win every game, and you try to win the division, and then you deal with the cards you're dealt.
Because as Hunter Brody would say, that's loser mentality. I want to be a wild card because we've gone for that's Hunter Brody. That's his quote, loser mentality. You know?
And we're not, and the Phillies aren't losers. Yeah, absolutely. And we don't have a loser mentality.
Yes.
Okay, so really good first week for the Phillies.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, when you win all 3 series. We end up 7-2,
and then winning a series against the Dodgers,
and against the Dodgers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's big.
Because this ain't the White Sox. I'll throw that joke in this ain't.
This ain't the White Sox, right? Yeah, the poor White Sox, right? And like you said, if you're a White Sox fan, you wouldn't be watching this, right?
Yes.
But then again, you might be watching it
because your team sucks.
Because your team sucks, and you got nothing else to watch. I don't know, and you want to watch a good team. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, sorry about picking on them.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just having a little fun.
Yes,
So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap this up, and we're going to say, please, if you don't hate us, like us.
Yes.
Leave a comment, okay, good or bad. You know, we'll take anything that you got. Well, if you don't like something we do, or you'd like us to do something different, let us know. You have a comment or an opinion on something that we made, leave a comment. You know, we'll try to monitor it and get back to you. So like I say, yeah, if you don't hate us, like us, and then you can follow us on
Twitter and YouTube.
Twitter and YouTube, and then subscribe. So you don't miss
an episode.
So you don't miss an episode, and we're gonna try to be back here every Sunday night, and put this together, and well, I guess that's it. And we're gonna say on the count of three, we're gonna do a let's go Phillies. Okay, yep. All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's go Phillies! All right.